Hey everyone, this is Brimster, and now I'm moving on to the next session. I think this is session 9 of my Romina and Vint campaign. When we left off, they had found this hidden mini dungeon underneath a memorial plaque, and why it's down here, who knows? This could be another mystery. But it's another area that has obviously been impacted by this necromantic thing, so we'll see what happens. So they'd gone into this room here. The ping is a thing that you can do um, in Roll20, and they'd fought a couple of zombies, and because that completely wasted them out, they then left without exploring. So now that they've rested overnight, and it's the next day, and they weren't bothered. They're going to go back into the room, and then they're going to decide, are they going to go left up into this room to the north, or right into the room to the south. And normally it's like you go left, but um, I have no idea what's in those rooms, so it's hard to do a what do they hear or anything. I could roll for the rooms and find out what is in them. So let's do that actually. So, what are the room contents of the room to the top? So, let me go back to the journal. After the long rest, R and V go back into the main room. Rolling for the room to the north and south to determine what's there in to see if they detect anything. Now, this might be something that comes up a bit. It's like, do I just roll when you arrive somewhere, or do they have to detect? So, in the room to the north, there is, and this is something that I will know, a hard encounter. So north is a hard encounter. Clue, loot, random, all 30%. I don't know what SD is supposed to mean. SD, it's not actually described. Maybe this is a bit of the thing I've not got. SD. What is SD? I'm not sure what that's supposed to be, but that's what it says. So clue, loot, random, SD. I'm not sure. And to the south, we have another deadly encounter. Well, most of the things aren't actually encounters. Like, most of the stuff is really not encounters. There's just what I've rolled. So another deadly encounter, um, which is loot 45% and clue 75%. So, I still figure these are all undead. So I'm going to go to the monster tables. These were down the bottom, I think, around 115. Yep. So for this, for two PCs at level 1, hard is two two PCs level 2 hard, or two PCs level 2 deadly. So level 2 hard. So we're going to say level 2 hard is level 2 hard. I need to roll a d6. Is 1 CR quarter and 1 CR eighths. Now, I don't think I can actually do that. And 1 CR 1 eighth, because there are very few CR eighth undead. And the deadly is actually 2 CR quarters. So I think I'm going to have to make them 2 CR quarters. I might make so, and level 2 deadly is 2 CR 1 quarter. Now, they've been doing okay, but there's no undead that are CR 1 eighth. So if I look at CR 1 eighth, I mean, I could possibly. I don't think I've got tables. I have to use the lookup, which I'm not a fan of, but I do have access to. So let's change this. Let's not worry about undead specifically and look at CR 1/8 and see what comes up. So is there anything here? There's not really. I mean, there's probably stuff in. So 2 CR quarter, 1 CR 1/8. I might make, what I could do is I could make one of the zombies, but make it actually like only have one arm or something. So it's got a penalty. So I might do that. So I'm just going to make them all zombies because that actually works. So to the north, North Chamber has 2 zombies. One is one armed and weaker, and South Chamber has another 2 zombies. So this is actually going to be tricky for them. But they are at full strength. So which way do they go? Let's make perception checks. What do they hear to the north? So they actually roll really well. And to the north, they can hear something moving, but they're not sure what it is. To the south, they roll just as well. So they can actually hear something moving in both directions. And with those rolls, they can pretty much tell that it's probably the same sorts of creatures. So, yeah, I think it's just a random roll. Which way do they go? They go to the south. So they go to the south. So Romina and R and V go to the south chamber. And V go south. Now, I'm also going to say that south is the place that is going to have, because I want this may not be the entrance. We'll figure out later if this has got the entrance to the mystery or not. So what they're going to do is they're going to go south. And down here, there are going to be, I should have kept the tokens. Down here, tokens page, I am going to grab guards again. So I go back to the map. I'm going to put in a guard. I'm going to rename that as a zombie. It's not renaming. Zombie. And give it, I think it was 22 hit points. I need to change this to... Yep, 22 hit points, and then I need to copy that and make another one. Why did that not work? Okay, let's get rid of that. Wow, that undid that rather than removing the paste. That is not great. Okay, 22 hit points. I want to select that. I want to copy it, and then I want to paste it. Now I've got 2 zombies. Romina and Vint come down. I'm more than happy for Vint to still be lighting the way. And I'm just going to go straight into an initiative roll here. So go south, south chamber. So encounter south chamber 2 zombies. And we're going to make that a heading 3 again. Okay, initiative. So this is again Romina and Vint. I believe we're both at +2. Sometimes you just want a combat. Yeah, they're both at +2. You just want a combat session. Kind of in the mood for one. I've had a rough period of time. So Romina is at 4, which is terrible. She's doing really badly. Vint is at 13. And the zombies, they have a penalty, if I remember correctly. They do, but they're the same as Vint. But with the penalty, I'm going to go, the zombies are at 13 as well. And they're going to go after Vint. So Vint goes first. So Vint, I think, is going to open up with throwing a fire and then being able to be, as I said, I'm not going to worry about light. I don't like light being a horrible thing here. And while he can't cast the cantrip twice in a turn, he's going to, it's fine. I just don't care that much. So he's going to throw a flame at one of them. No, he'll shillelagh. To prevent that, he's going to shillelagh walk up and hammer them. Yeah, he'll shillelagh walk up and just hit one. So he's going to walk up to here, having cast shillelagh, and he's going to hit at one of the zombies. So Vint is now doing a D8 plus 5, and he hits very easily. He hits well, and he does 7 points of damage. So this zombie goes down to 15. That's fine. That's him. Now we go on to the zombies. Now, the zombie that is on Vint is very, very likely to attack him, and does. The other one is going for Romina, so it's going to move up. So it will move up, but what we're going to do now, this is going to cause them to have a little bit of trickiness here, but let's just do the attacks for the zombies. So the first, they don't attack very well. The first one is likely to hit Vint, if I remember correctly. Vint's armor class is only 13, so that's going to hit Vint, but it's only going to hit Vint for minimum damage. So that's only 2 points of damage on Vint, so that's fine. So Vint takes 2 points of damage, which takes him down to 8. And the other one is going to hit at Romina, and that is absolutely a miss. 2 on the die. Now Romina gets her attacks. Now, she's not going to provoke an attack of opportunity, which is if you move out of the range of something, it can get a free attack, but she's going to move so she's back to back with Vint. And then she's going to take, she hasn't used a bonus action. She can sort of, yeah, she can draw her weapons as part of her move. This is part of preparing for combat and everything. The zombies had to stand up and everything. It's all part fine. That she wasn't surprised. So she's able to get her 2 attacks with the scimitars. So the first one is going to attack the zombie. She absolutely hammers it. She's doing +3, so it takes 5 points of damage, dropping it to 17. And then with her offhand attack, which is her bonus action, she misses. Actually, no, they've only got armor class 8, so she doesn't miss. And she hits it for, I think it was +3. +3, so that is 7 points of damage. So that drops it to 10. So she's done a huge amount of damage for a single round. And then we go back to Vint at the start of the initiative. It's kind of nice only having a couple of things to worry about. So Vint is now, he's also got his shillelagh. I don't think he's doing anything bonus action. I need to look into that. But he's just going to use his shillelagh to hit the zombie again. Close to a critical, but not quite. He hits the zombie for 8 points of damage. And one of the things I like to do is try and keep combat fast. Go descriptive occasionally, but not too often. Now the zombies attack. Zombie attacks Vint. That's going to hit that's going to hit. So Vint is going to take 3 points of damage from that one. So he's down to 5. He's at half health. The other one attacks Romina and absolutely misses. So now Romina's going to do her 2 swords attacks, main hand followed by an offhand swing. The main hand hits. Zombies have no armor class whatsoever, and hits for 6 points of damage, dropping it to 4. And the other one is going to hit as well, hitting for 7 points of damage, which would drop it to 0. But 7 plus 5 is 12, so it needs to make a DC 12 con check, which it fails. So this zombie actually goes down. At which point Romina is going to turn around and she's going to move into range of this other one. I wish I could figure out how sometimes I click off and it keeps the thing so I can spin it, and other times it doesn't. But she's going to come down and she's going to attack that zombie. I don't want to open that. She's going to be available to attack that zombie. Now it's Vint's turn again. Vint is going to shillelagh at the zombie. He's going to hit the zombie, and he's going to hit it hard. That's 12 points of damage, which drops it to 0. That was a huge roll. 12 plus 5 is 17. DC 17 con check for the zombie. It makes it. Oh my God. So it goes back to 1 hit point. This is the hardest hit that Vint has ever done in his life. Well, probably not, but it's pretty hard. And the zombie makes it. So the zombie gets to actually retaliate on Vint. This could be bad. Zombie absolutely misses. So now it's Romina's job to take the zombie down. Romina misses with her first attack. She has her follow-up attack, which also misses. Vint is worried at this point, but he is actually going to attack the zombie. And actually, he may hit with that because it is pretty bad. I mean, Romina rolled. Yeah, it was just terrible. So Vint is at plus... Oh, it's with the shillelagh. It's at plus 5. That is going to hit the zombie. 9 points of damage. So 9 plus 5, 14. DC 14 con check. Makes it exactly. So, because zombies have good con. So, like, very good con. So it's still on 1 hit point. Now the zombie gets to attack. It's probably going to attack Vint and does. So it attacks Vint. It hits Vint and does 3 points of damage. So Vint is actually quite worried at this point. So now it's Romina's attacks, and Romina is hopefully going to drop this thing. Romina hits with the first attack for 8 points of damage. So that's a DC 5 plus 8 is 13. DC 13, and it fails. So the zombie now goes down. So they managed to kill the 2 zombies in here. And this was the tough room. So the big problem they had in here is Vint has taken a fair bit of damage. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn around and say Vint is going to spend an action now to spend his healing surge, which allows him, without using spells, to spend hit dice. He's going to spend his 1 hit die, and that allows him to 1, and they are D8s. Romina is D10s. He's going to get a D8 plus his con bonus, which is 2 hit points back. So he's going to get 7 hit points back. So Vint goes back up to 9 hit points, which is not bad. Okay, so in this room, haven't rolled loot or anything, so they managed to defeat them fairly convincingly. So in this one, which is the south one, there's a 45% chance of loot and 75% chance of... Although, I think this is increasing the loot chance to 40. I don't know how this is supposed to be read. It really doesn't make sense. It seems to be changing. I possibly need to read the rules more, but I've pretty much gone straight from the previous session to dinner and then come back and done this because I was enjoying it. So, 152. So I need to jump to page 152. So loot tables. Is there a hoard here? That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say there's a treasure hoard here. And I'm actually going to say there's a chance. Now, these are CR 1/4, so it's not going to be probably a great one. So let's see. So are there copper pieces? Yes. So there's probably a lot of them. I'm probably going to upconvert them at some point. Shivers. This is terrible. So loot... 1200 CP, which I think is like 12 gold or something, but still. Is there silver pieces? Yes. There's a lot of money in here. 500? This is insane. 500 silver pieces. Is there electrum pieces? I have no problem with them getting some money at the start. Electrum pieces. Wow, I'm rolling well. $70 electrum pieces. No, that's not 70. This can't be right. Yeah, it can. It's 350 electrum pieces. I'm going to reduce these amounts probably, because this is insane. This is way too much. Oh, maybe not. I don't know. Is there gold? Holy cow, I'm rolling insane. I'm rolling absolutely insane. Like, this is way too much. I'm going to reduce these. This is way too much, I think. Platinum pieces, there's no platinum. Gems, there's no gems. And I'm going to say there's a very slim chance, but it did not happen, of something special. So I'm going to reduce these amounts. I am literally going to halve them all. So more than, actually. Let's call it 300 copper pieces, 100 silver pieces, 150 electrum pieces, and 100 gold, which is still insanely a lot. Now, I'm going to put a clue in here because I think it would be interesting. So I'm going to add this to the party loot. So there's no platinum. It's now 110 gold they've got. This is insane, by the way, for this level. 1058 electrum pieces. This is too much money. I've gone way overboard. 114 silver and 927 copper. This is way too much money, and I don't care. It'll all come out in the wash. Maybe they can buy some cool stuff. They're not going to be buying magic items. But, tough. So I am going to put a clue in here, and what I'm going to say is they find a sealed door that they can't open. Clue. They find a sealed door that they cannot open. The door has runes that glow very faintly when illuminated by Vint's magical fire. And nothing they can do can investigate it. So there is a sealed door down here. So what I'm going to do is there's the monument dungeon. I'm going to note this in the compendium. They find a door in the monument dungeon that they cannot open yet. Okay. And do they think that it's... Yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that. It's, again, computer game concept, just like this is not for them yet. So they're going to go and explore to the north, and they will just travel up. Romina's going to go first because that's what fighters do. And they'll get to sort of about here using the Alt key so I can do it. And they will encounter the two zombies. Now, I'm going to remove the tag on these ones and reuse them. I'm going to change 22 on one of them. I'm going to make one of them only have 15 hit points, and I'm going to call it a weak zombie. And, this is the combat side of it. I've been in D&D games where combats can take as long as 3 or 4 hours, and I just like to roll through the combat. Nothing special happening here, really. Just rolling through. Okay. So, and we're going to do... So they move up to the north. So, encounter north... Norch chamber, one zombie and one weak zombie. We'll call that heading 3. Initiative. So we know Romina and Vint are at +2 because I'm learning. Vint is at 16. Romina is at 8. And the zombies, which get -2, are at 4. So that's actually good for them this time. Zombies are at 4. Okay. So let's go do this. So Vint goes first. I am going to let Vint do it this time. Romina's in the way, and he's basically going to do the flame thing. It's against the rules. He's got the flame on the tip of his staff, and you summon another one, and you're supposed to go out, or he's going to throw the one from the front of his staff and bring another one. I don't care. It's all about story. Or he throws the one from the front of his staff, or pushes it from the front of his staff, but there's still enough light in. I just don't care. I don't find that part of the game interesting. And if you annoyed, deal. So he's actually going to throw a perpetual flame. Or was it produce flame? He's going to throw one of those produce flames. So he has to make a ranged spell attack at one of the zombies, left or right. Probably left, but no, dice say right. So he's going to throw it at the zombie, the one without one arm. So it's the one that stood up faster and everything. So he's going to throw it at that one. Range spell attack. I think I put the spell attack on here. Spell attack is +5. So he gets to make a spell attack at +5, and if it hits, it's going to do a d8 fire damage. So he hits it and does 2 points of damage to it. So it takes 2 points of damage, and then he'll summon another fire and flame and everything, and that's him done. Next up is Romina, who's going to step forward to the strong one. Yep, let's take that down. Romina took a small hit on that as well, but she's feeling okay. And Romina is going to double attack the zombie. So the first one, that would probably miss. She didn't roll ones or didn't roll twos this time, but because of the fact that zombies have no armor, she actually hits, and she hits it for 7 points of damage with her bonus. So that drops it to 13, and then she's got her offhand. And if I'm getting these wrong, that's a cocked die, so I always re-roll both. Which is a shame because the damage was really good last time. She still rolls really well. She hits it, and this time she hits it for 8 drops of damage, dropping it to 5. Now it's the zombie's turn. And, if you've got any feedback or anything, please feel free to reach out to me. But I'm having fun, and if I'm having fun, doesn't matter. So, the zombies miss Romina, and the weak zombie is going to pick a target. It's going for Vint. So it's going to... No, actually, no, it's not. Because it gets to there, and then it's in range of Romina. So it's just going to turn and attack Romina. Because otherwise Romina will get a free attack, and it does not want that to happen. So it actually hits Romina for 6 points of damage. So Romina gets hit hard. So, actually, I was going to make it weak. So it would have still hit, but I'm going to reduce its damage to just the die. So she gets another hit point back. It doesn't get the bonus damage that zombies normally get because it's weak. And it also doesn't attack quite as well. I'm also making it a bit slower, but that's not going to matter. So that's the zombies done. We now have Vint. Vint is going to move up with his shillelagh, and he's going to hit because he's very effective with his shillelagh. I figure he's kind of that kind of guy. And again, they're zombies, so he hits. I don't remember the bonus damage for the shillelagh, +3. So he hits it for 5 points of damage. Why is the weak zombie at 0? I don't think that's right. How much? I didn't choose the hit points for the weak zombie. I was going to call it partially wounded. Let's say it was on 15, and this is the first time it's been hit. So he hits it for 5, so it's now on 10. I think that's right. Close enough. Good enough. If you spend too much time picking out like every single individual number rather than just like let the story continue flowing, role-playing can take forever, or gaming like this can take forever. And when you're hassling at like 1 point here and there, it rarely matters, and it's not worth the hours and hours. Yeah. Anyway, so that's Vint's turn. Now Romina is going to try and take out the two-handed zombie again. So she's going to, again, try and hit it with her scimitar. That one of the die came out of the dice tray. I've got a rule, which is if one of the die is cocked or one of the die is valid or falls off the table or anything, re-roll everything, because it's incredibly how often someone will turn around and say, well, my attack roll was really good, so I'm just going to re-roll the damage die, or they were both terrible, or the one that was left was terrible, so I'm going to re-roll both. Be consistent and you will have a much more comfortable time. There'll be less debates. So she absolutely hits it, and she hits it for 5 points of damage. So that drops it to 0. So that's a DC 10 cons check it needs to make. And it does because of its really strong constitution. So it's like, yeah. And so she hits it again with her sword again, hits it again for another 5 points of damage. So it's a DC 10 con check, which again it makes exactly. So it's still up on 1 hit point. And Romina has got, I hate these things, because now it's their turn. Now, the zombie is just going to attack at Romina, and it's going to hit Romina, and it's going to hit Romina for 5 points of damage. So, holy cow, she goes down to 1 hit point. Nope. Nope. And the weak zombie was on Romina and changes target to Vint because Vint just hit it. So it's going to miss Vint completely. So this one is now attacking Vint. Okay, cool. Now, we now go to Vint, who is going to use a spell. which means he's not going to attack this round. So he's going to use a cure spell, which I believe, if I remember correctly, cure wounds is a D8 plus the spellcasting modifier, and Vint's spellcasting modifier is +3. So that's a D8 +3 hit points that Romina will get back. So the D8 for Vint, oh good God, Romina gets 4 hit points back. That is not good for Romina. That was very, very bad. But Romina now gets 2 attacks. So Romina's first attack against the full zombie hits. Don't forget the bonus. Hits it for 4 points of damage. So that's a DC 9 con check. So which it absolutely makes. She's gonna try it again. She hits it. This time she hits it for 6 points of damage. So that's a DC 11 con check, which it makes. She's completely ineffective against this zombie. It doesn't matter what she does to it. There's bits of stuff falling off it and anything, and it just completely seems unfazed. Now, the weak zombie was attacking Vint and still does, and misses, and the other one was attacking Romina and still does, and it hits Romina for 2 hit points of damage. So it's a good thing she got healed. Okay, so now we go back. Vint is not going to burn another healing spell, though he's very, very tempted, because they can see that this is the end of this complex, and they're going to short rest after this. So Vint is going to try and hit this weak zombie and with his shillelagh, because he knows he's very, very strong at this. And Romina is like, I've got something. And he's going to hit it, and he's going to hit it hard. He's going to hit it for, I think is +5 again, if I remember correctly, with the shillelagh. +3 is fine. If I've done +5 by mistake. So he's going to hit it for 10 points of damage, which drops it to 0. But it does mean it needs to make a DC 15 check in order to not fall down, which it makes. So it's back on 1 hit point. It's like, hello. And Vince is like, I hate these things. The weak ones are tougher than the ones in the other room. They did terribly. And now Romina is like, she's going to give up her second attack, and she's going to use her second wind and spend. No, the second wind just gives her a DC plus her D10 plus her fighter level hit points back. If I remember correctly, I know I looked this up last session, but I'm going to remind myself until I get used to it. Fighter. I possibly need to, that's druid, so fighter should be next. Second wind, hit points equal to 1d10 plus your fighter level. So she's going to get a d10 plus 1 hit points back. That's 11. So she gets 11 hit points back. So she goes back up to 13, so she's back up at full, but that's her bonus action spent, so she's only going to get a single attack this round. So she's going to attack the full zombie. Oh, so close to a critical. She hits it for 4 points of damage, so that's a DC 9 con check, which it makes. We can't kill these things! And now the zombies get an attack. The full zombie is going to stay on Romina and hit Romina for 4 points of damage. Can we do something about this? The other one is going to stay on Vint, and it's going to miss Vint. So that's good. Vint is like, I don't have anything. I'm doing everything I can. This is not their personality. This is Bremster just being... So Vint hits the zombie. He hits the zombie for 5 points of damage. So it's basically just a DC 10 con check, which it makes. I'm rolling really well on these con checks. Then Romina is like, okay, big zombie. The full zombie, not the weak one. Hit it for 7 points of damage. DC 12 con check, which it fails. I rolled a 2. It fails that con check. It goes down. She turns and uses her offhand attack on the weak zombie. There's a chance here that she can take them both down in 1 round. She rolls enough, I think, to hit it. Her attack is at +5. She hits the thing. She hits it. She hits it for 9 points of damage. So that is 9 plus 5. DC 14 con check. This is going to be tricky. It fails! So she actually takes them both down in a single round and she drops both zombies. Vince is like, how are you? It's like, I'm okay, but I burnt a lot. It's like, yeah, me too. So, what do they find in this room? This was a much harder fight than the zombie strength zombies. That was cool. How long have I been going? 35 minutes. It feels like a lot longer. So actually, it feels like both 5 minutes and an hour and a half at the same time. That was really cool. So, what is there in here? There's 30% chance of loot and everything. I don't know what this means. I really don't. I'm going to quickly look at the tables and see if I can figure that out. So, dungeon generation is on page 40. No, it's not explaining. Room contents. Random SD. I don't know what these are. There's obviously something I'm missing. Maybe it's 30% chance of a clue, 30% chance of loot, 30% chance of random. Okay, so is there a clue in the room? Yes, there is a clue in the room. So, clue. Is there loot in the room? Yes. Okay, maybe I got this wrong on the last one, but I might remove the loot or downplay it because I gave too much on the last one. Is there... Wow, I rolled again. So what the heck is the random? So there's a random item, I assume, and I don't know what SD is. Can I figure out what SD is? Is that a skill test? I It says SD, but I don't know what SD is. So let's have a look at clues. An empty coffin. So the clue is an empty coffin. I could work with that considering what's going on. Loot. What I'm going to... I've been wanting to give them something special because it's 9 sessions in and I like to do it and I like to give them something interesting. So what I might do is I might roll a random item on the random item table. I think the random item table is in either this book or book 2 item table. So I'm going to roll a random item and see what comes up and see if I can do something with that. No, that does not work. That does not work. I'm going to roll just a few times to see if something comes up. Sorry, went the wrong way. That does not work. That could. So it came up with a prayer rug, an empty coffin covered with a, I'm not going to say a prayer rug, but a, uh, what are the, oh, I can't remember what they're called, like a, uh, 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 um, like a tapestry um, depicting the actions of the person inside. Is the tapestry in good condition? I think probably not. Like, no, it's absolutely rotten. Um, the tapestry is all worn and bug eaten. And so that's what I'm doing from there. So, and maybe it tells the story of what's happening. Um, they note the details of the tapestry, but it means nothing to them at this time because I couldn't be bothered coming up with another storyline at this point. But hopefully I will remember later. Now let's actually do some keywords and see if I can come up with something. I mean, it would be good to do, I suppose. It's just I don't want to overload myself and just keep generating new extra things. I want to tie it into the mystery we've already got, but we'll see if we can come up with something. So I will want those dice, and let's generate some keywords maybe. So keywords. So that's 312. Obligation. Okay, that's interesting. That could work. 605 is confusion. I can come up with a story based on this, maybe not now. 553. Scepter. So, yeah. So, show, shows a holy man raising a scepter above a crowd, the scepter glowing with a light that people are bowing down to. In the second panel, the crowd has turned against the holy man who is depicted as a grotesque figure. In the third panel, the figure is being shown maybe leading an army of, or leading a horde of grotesque figures towards the town. And the other panels, in another panel, the other panels are all worn or decayed. So something happened with this holy man and their scepter. Okay, there we go. The symbol of the scepter is one they recognize from the door in the other room. There we go. So, zombies dead. They then leave, and they're going to have a short rest out here, having closed the door before they move on. So, with a short rest, second wind comes back and the healing surge. I don't know if I did that last time, but Vint does not get his spell slot back. I think, yeah, second wind comes back with any rest, and they can spend hit dice. How many hit points do they have? Romina is on 9, Vint is on 9, so I'm going to note that they are on 9 and 9. Romina is going to spend her hit dice, I think, to get some hit points back. She is almost certainly going to go to full, but she's going to spend hit dice anyway. Yep, she goes back to full. So she is now at full hit points, but they are both out of hit dice until they take a long rest. But they are going to take a short rest, which is only 30 minutes, and then they are going to leave and go back to, that's not where I wanted to go. Where I wanted to go was here. And then they are going to head up toward the farm. So in here, what I'm adding is I'm adding a note. So I go to maps and then I go in here. There is, if I go to text, this is way too large. I want this to be, say, 22. The monument dungeon. And that is that. And this square here is the Pelline Farm. So I can do more text, which is the Pelline Farm. There we go. And now I go back to the object and token layer. And theoretically, none of that is selectable. Actually, that seems to be. So let's move that to the map layer. And then theoretically, the only thing selected, no, there's something else selectable here. Ah, it was that. Okay. Let's move them out, select that, and move that to the map layer. No, map layer. Where did I move that to? Did I actually move that to the map layer? Looks like I did. Cool. Okay. So I know I should have used less of the map or anything, but whatever. It's fine. I'm having fun. So they're not going to have any other encounters moving up to the Pelline Farm. So they have a short rest in the outer corridor. Then they leave. They try and cover up with the original block, the entrance. How well do they do? Let's just make a strength check for Romina and a wisdom check for Vint as they're trying to do it all. So Romina's strength check is okay, and wisdom check, yeah, they don't do a great job. The entrance, but they do not do a great job. The question is climbing out, actually. That's the athletics checks. They both do stunningly well. So that's all fine. I don't even need to note that. Okay. They travel north to the location of the next farm. So the Pelline Farm. So what do we know about the Pelline Farm? I don't even remember how I generated the last farm. I really don't. So do I want to do anything special here? I'm not even sure. I could try a random wilderness generation and see what happens. Oh, this is what I should have done earlier. No, it's a random wilderness encounter I want, which is on page 22. Yeah, let's see what comes up. See if anything jumps out at me. Literally. Yeah, this is something that might be at the farm. Traveling sage or archivist. So At the farm, they encounter. Actually, is this where they encounter the rather than the sage, the person that the thing was made for? Actually, yeah, let's do a roll. That might be more likely. Actually, yeah, why not? They encounter the cleric the symbol was made for. Yeah, let's bring this to some form of conclusion rather than have things drag out. One of the worst things that can happen in D&D is you just keep encountering new and new things and nothing comes out. So let's bring this to a head. Is this person the person in charge of the farm? No. They are not the person in charge of the farm. So who is in charge of the farm? Is it the farm? Like, has this farm been hit by the plague? No. This farm has not been hit by the plague. I assume they know of it. Yes. But they know of it. Of course, they know of it. That was a dumb question, but they know of it. Of course, they know of it. It's not been hit by the plague, but they are scared of it. Let's say they're scared of it. Scared of it. Scared of it. So who's in charge? Let's generate a name, shall we? That sounds fair. Person, yeah, person in charge. Person in charge. So this is, I mean, not that there has to be someone in charge, but the person that they're going to deal with. There really should be someone that they're going to deal with. So let's do a fantasy name. It's going to be on ladies' names table 1. So it's this one. So yeah, let's make it a lady in charge. I'm cool with that. 49 Dell. So these are the name roles, which I'll delete. So Adele. And let's keep another one on this table. 3. Zenis. So let's call her. So this was the Pelline farm. So the surname is Pelline. Let's call it. Udeni Pelline. That makes sense. It's a terrible name. I like it. It's the sort of thing that anyone would come up with. So Udeni Pelline is the name of the person in charge. Are they human? I'm kind of leaning towards yes. Because I'm thinking that the other races. I might change this to Ardeni. Yeah, Ardeni Pelline. So let's just make this red. Okay, so Ardeni is the person in charge. So why are they doing, like, I want to bring this to a head. So are they trying to not harbor, but protect this cleric? Because we knew that the cleric was from a banned religion and that they'd come to the place and that the cleric had sent the person here to make the symbol. Hidden away as a commoner who's been, the cleric hasn't been practiced for a very long time, unable to do much. Okay. Does Romina know the Pauline family or vice versa? Like, have they, the farms aren't too far apart. I mean, these are what, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 miles apart. That's a long way, but, they're close-ish. Like, have they met before, like a long time ago, or did they know each other's family? Yes. So, Denny knew, was it her father? Because her father was the main farmer. Like, I'm not saying that all farmers are men, but, yes. Denny knew Romina's family or father by trade and dealings at the dwarf town. They were not close because I don't want them there. They were not close, but knew each other. That's fine. She recognizes Romina. Will Romina recognize the Denny? We'll do that later. So what sort of people, like, have people conglomerated at this farm? I feel that this might be a sort of a place that people have come to after the other farm has collapsed and everything, and with the plague and everything. So maybe this has kind of been a bit of a haven. I'm going to just make a roll on that one. Yes, and. So this is the Paline farm is a place that people have gathered as a community to deal with the threats that have risen. So the threats that have risen, there is the plague, the dwarves who are more scared right now and therefore more aggressive. And I think the only reason the undead stuff has happened is because of this the stuff. So they're not sure what's going on there. And the events that were seen at was it the Maveldi farm? Meveldi at the Meveldi Melveldi farm, but no one was brave enough to go and face the plague. Okay, so how many people are here? So let's get an idea by rolling a D100. Like, is it a small number or a high number? A high number, I don't think would be over 100. So a D100 might make a good estimation. There's about 40 people here. There are about 40 people who have gathered here, but most of them are trying to keep a low profile. Is the farm succeeding right now? Oh, there's also the bandits. The dwarves in the Maveldi farm. Also the bandits that are raiding as they have lost the supplies to basically the bandits in the town where they were, all of their supply and everything, like everything in the area has been thrown into turmoil by the plague, as they have lost their reliable supply chain. Okay, so I'm trying to keep a low profile. So most of them are not visible when R and V approach. How is the farm doing is a question. Like, is it, I think it's okay because there's a lot of people with skill here. So I'm going to say the odds are it's doing well. It's doing well. The farm is producing good food for now, but not enough to feed everyone and provide the tithe, might not be the right word, to the to Deep Scar. Okay, so what is a Denny going to do? So I think they approach, and they're wearing the pins from the town. So this is going to be a social encounter. So when they approach, were they seen leaving the Maveldi farm? Because these people are keeping an eye out and trying to keep everything. Are these people scouting? Is a good question. I think they're likely to be because they want to know what's going on. Yes, they are. So these people are scouting around the area, trying to be aware of what is going on. Did they see Romina and Vint at the Maveldi farm? No. They did not C, R, and V before now, however. I don't think they saw them at all. No, let's make another roll on that one. No, they didn't. Okay, so they do know about the bandits. They do know about the bandit control of, what was the name of the town? Nenda. Nenda. And they know the dwarves are scared to travel. Okay, so let's go from there. So as they're going to approach, the farm is in good condition, so they're not going to be battle ready. People are working the farm. They're here for information and to try and have a negotiation. I think this is literally just going to be a social thing. I'm going to do this as a, when they approach, someone is going to ask them for, like, what's going on. I don't think intimidation is right. They're going to do persuasion. So these are going to be charisma checks. So as R and V approach, they are challenged, and it will be a charisma check to see if they are welcomed or not. Now, Romina is going to introduce herself, which will mean that then let's do a perception roll on behalf, just a flat out perception roll to see if they notice the pins on that they're wearing. They actually don't. So because they've been adventuring and stuff and they're a bit dirty, I'm going to say that the pins either aren't being worn or anything, and they're not that noticeable. Maybe they've got them, but maybe they're like folded into a flap or anything. So while R and V aren't hiding the pins, the deep scar pins, they aren't being worn, obviously, and are not picked up by the people who first encountered them. Romina will come up and say, "Hi, my name is Romina." I never came up with a surname, but don't care. It explains the story. We're here. Does she talk about the dwarves? Um, maybe. Oh, maybe not that she's here for the dwarves yet. It's like, does she do that? I think. No, she doesn't. She's a little bit circumspect, but she will talk about her background if they ask who she is. So it's going to come down to charisma checks. And she's going to do most of the talking, even though I believe it is. Oh no, they're both equal. So I'm just going to give Romina a charisma roll, and I'm going to call it medium difficulty. So DC 10 charisma to try and make them happy. And she pulls it off. She doesn't do great. So she makes a DC 10 charisma CHARIS roll in order to not have them immediately suspicious or hostile, but they are not overly trusting either. Do they just take them to see a Denny? Yeah, they do. The farmer, the people they first encounter, take them to see a Denny. Okay, so encounter with a Denny Pauline. So what do I want this to be? So there's also the cleric that's involved. So do they just tell their tale in detail? Like Adeni, I think, is trying to help these people, and is that's her focus. So I don't think there's any need for secrecy here. Like the people on the outside, maybe, but Adeni I'm putting down as actually sort of clever. That's why she's in charge. As I said, in charge as in the spokesman, the person who is like coordinating everything. When there's a problem, they come to Adeni. It was her farm in the first place, but when they're turning around and saying there's a problem with the crops, Adeni, what do we do? There's a problem with the plough, what do we do? She's the one who fixes everything. She's the coordinator of everything. And while she may not be nominally the leader, she's the one that everyone looks to, the one with the charisma and the skills. So when they're talking to her, do they? I don't see any reason why anyone wouldn't be open here. And if they talk about going to the Maveldi farm, that would draw some attention because that's where they knew the symbol was being made. And when the symbol was being made was when everything went to heck. And maybe that will put some more things into the mystery. It's like they were there trying to do something and everything went wrong and all the bugs came. And we, from a distance, we saw everyone fall to the ground. There was sort of this pulse of something. Was it a pulse of something? It was like, but there was a sort of this wave of actually. Yeah, there was this wave of sort of black smoke that came out of the building that did it, and all of the and with the wave of black smoke, after the wave of black smoke, there were like bugs that came out, and everyone just fell to the ground. Yeah, that's a good way of doing it. Adeni explains, yeah, it's the quest thing. What happened at the Mavel D farm? I don't know. Seeing the wave of black smoke come out of the forge when the symbol was being made and the bugs that followed and all of the people caught in it falling to, as if almost instantly killed. Though, so yeah, and she tell them what was happening? Maybe they, yeah, and if, I think it's likely that they're going to talk about. I'm just going to make sort of some opposed roles: brown for Adeni and black for the group. Yeah, they're about even. So between them, they discover that, or they reveal to each other that R and V have the symbol, and that they were able to face the bugs without problem. Adeni is surprised by this, as the one person she sent in, a volunteer, to get the symbol never returned. She introduces R and V to the old cleric, whose name is, I'm terrible with spelling, of the name, with the name of names. Let's do a name generation. D6 again. I'm going to need D6s and D100s. So D6 and D100. Table 3. That's not a D10, that's a D10. Part 1 is Kirkley. So I'm just going to roll a couple of names and combine them. And Stroud. Kirkley and Stroud. So name is going to be it's not strictly ST. They just don't go together. I'm going to do a third one. And wow. And Delwyn. That'll be funny to some people who know me. I'm just going to say Kerwin. Kerwin works. So Kerwin is the name of the old cleric. And what has just happened? Every so often, while running OBS, my mouse pointer goes very, very weird. Okay. So the old cleric with the name of Kerwin. What I am going to do before I finish, because I've been running over an hour, they agree to talk more, but R and V ask for a place to rest and offer to help them and tell their full story, which they will do. They take a long rest and level up to level 2. Now, I'm doing experience by milestone, but this seems like a good place for them to level up. And I'm going to end after this. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look up how the currency works because I really don't remember. And I'm going to cash up some of the coin because I really don't care about carrying it all. 143 seems to be where I'm looking. So, Electrum. So, well, I need a converter for this. There probably is one online, but I don't have it on me. So, platinum pieces are great. I will just keep them. Gold pieces. Now, Electrum pieces is a half a gold piece. So, this is ridiculous. So, this is way too much. So, what I'm going to say is they've actually got, say, 360 gold pieces and get rid of all the Electrum. I'm going to convert the copper which into 90 silver, and I'm just going to say that they've got 215 silver, and I'm going to get rid of the copper. And that's good enough because that is still a ridiculous amount of money for a first level party. Because I obviously rolled too high. Now they rest overnight, they go back up to full, not 0, they go back up to full. And I've actually thought in advance about what's going to happen when they level up. So they're going to get full hit points. So Romina goes up to 26 hit points. So I'll do this here. Her hit points go to 26. She now has 2 hit dice. No, not 3, 2. And she gains action surge. So what she gains is action surge, which I think recharges on a long rest. So what I need to do is these are, so what I want to do is I want to insert, and you can see the boring bits that I do. So I'm going to do a blank, and this is going to be called a edit options. This is recharge long rest. Option 1, how have I done these? Option 1 is available, so I'm going to call option 1 is available, and that will be green, and option 2 will be recharge long rest, and that will be in red. And the size of this is 10, so I want to change the size of this to 10. I'm going to put an extra thing in here. So what that means is this will be recharge on long rest, whereas these are recharge special or recharge on any rest. And the reason for that, action surge gives her another main action that she can use, which is incredibly good. And that's what Romina gets. Vint, however, gets another 10 hit points. So actually I need to finish Romina. To do class features, she gets action surge. Now Vint goes to 20 hit points, gets 2 hit dice, and gains wild shape. Now this is a really cool one. That's Romina, class features, gets wild shape. He's going to become, I'll need to update this, but he's also going to become a circle of the land. So I'm going to put this up here where I'm doing Vint. So hit points goes up, gains wild shape, druid circle, and druid circle is circle of the land, which is a spell casting circle. So he's going to become more of a spellcaster than he has been. Extra cantrip. So he gets an extra cantrip, which is mending, which allows him to fix things. I could change that later, I don't know. And he gets natural recovery, which I'm going to put in here under spells. And natural recovery, which is during a short rest, get half levels in spell slots back, which recharges at a long rest. So what I have to put in here now is natural. Oops, what happened here? Why is this not? These should be 13. And then in here I put natural recovery. And then I do a drop down, which is going to be a recharge long rest, and I changed that back to size 10. So now I've got a recharge long rest on natural recovery for Vint. Done the extra cantrip, extra spell to memorize. I'm going to say the extra one that he can memorize for now, or that he's memorizing it now, is detect magic. So Vint is going to also have, I should put it in here, detect magic is his normal one. He can change these up. So what that means is, as a druid, he can choose which spells he's going to memorize at first level, but these are the ones he's memorizing now. And his wild shape forms, which I'm going to put in here. So wild shape forms, and is there a thing for this? Yep. CR0 is going to be cat and fox, and CR1/4, which is the top he can go, is constrictor, snake, ox, panther, and wolf. These are the ones he knows. There was a table in one of the books that would talk about what you could do. And what wild shape is for, I also need to note his wild shape. So wild, it's done the whole line. I didn't want it to do that. So this goes back to 13. And wild shape. And I'm going to insert, this is the boring bit. Sorry, I shouldn't have done this differently, but whatever. New drop down, wild shape. Remove, and you've got 2, 1, and recharge on, I think it's a long rest. So at 2 or 1 or recharge on a long rest. And they'll make that size 10. So he's got 2 uses of wild shape, which means that he can turn into one of these animals. He can turn into a cat, a fox, a constrictor, snake, an ox, a panther, and a wolf for an hour with each use of wild shape. And he gains the form of those. So if he turns into a wolf, he becomes a wolf, and all of his stuff merges into it, and he can run like a wolf and pounce like a wolf and everything. Really cool stuff. But people had asked me how all of the progression works, so I wanted to show you a little bit of that. I'm not showing you all of the rules involved and how you actually do that, but I did want to show you sort of what these characters would gain. So they each gain a lot of hit points. They each gain hit dice that they can spend, which they will not get back every single time they rest anymore, because you only get half of your level rounded up. They've got some extra stuff. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. It goes to 10, Wild Shape, Druid Circle, Circle of the Land, which gives him some extra spell casting stuff, which I've done. Natural Recovery, which comes from Circle of the Land, and the extra spell to memorize. So that's what Vint gets. So Vint gets some cool stuff. Romina will get all of her cool stuff next level. Yeah, so that's this session. They are ending at the Paline Farm, where they have met a Denny Paline, who's the person in charge, and may meet Kerwin, who will probably really want the that symbol that they've got. So that's what I've done. Hopefully you're still enjoying the story. Let's round some stuff up and see what's going to happen, and then figure out what's next. This is nowhere near what I expected this story to be. Thanks everyone for watching. Hope you're enjoying it. I really do. I know I am, even if no one watches this. And as always, good luck with your adventuring.